Do you know why the love you've been chasing always seems to slip away right when you need it most? Why is it that every time you open your heart, every time you allow yourself to be vulnerable, the person simply disappears? As if love were a butterfly that flies away the moment you try to touch it. Let me tell you something that changed my life and the lives of thousands of people around the world. There's a very specific reason why love runs from you, and it's not what you think. It's not because you're not pretty enough, smart enough, or interesting enough. The truth is much simpler and much more powerful. I want you to breathe with me for a moment. Place your right hand on your heart right now. Feel the warmth of your palm through your clothes, through your skin, reaching the muscle that has never stopped beating for you. Not for 1 second. Not when you cried. Not when you doubted your worth. It stayed there, faithful, dedicated, loving you unconditionally. It was 3:27 in the morning when Meadow called me. I could hear her sobbing before she even spoke, the kind of crying that comes from the deepest part of your soul, when you've just watched another relationship crumble and you're left wondering what's wrong with you. She had been dating Tyler for 8 months, and everything seemed perfect until it wasn't. He had just sent her a text saying he needed space, that he wasn't ready for something serious. "Louise," she whispered, her voice breaking. "What is wrong with me? Why does this keep happening? I give everything I have. I love with my whole heart, and they always leave. Always." I could hear the sound of rain against her window, that soft pattering that somehow makes heartbreak feel even more profound. She told me she was sitting on her kitchen floor in her favorite purple pajamas, the ones with tiny moons on them, holding a cup of chamomile tea that had gone cold hours ago. And then I asked her a question that changed everything. "Meadow, honey, tell me this. When you look in the mirror each morning, what do you say to yourself?" There was a long silence, the kind of silence that holds truth. Finally, she whispered, I don't really look, and when I do, I see everything that's wrong. I see why they leave." That's when it hit me, the revelation that has transformed thousands of lives. Meadow wasn't being abandoned by others. She was abandoning herself first. She was looking for love outside because she had never learned to feel love inside. The universe was simply reflecting back to her the relationship she had with herself. You see, my dear one, love cannot enter a house that doesn't have room for it. And if your heart is already filled with self-criticism, self-doubt, and the constant voice that tells you you're not enough, where is love supposed to go? It bounces right off, like water off a roof, because there's simply no space for it to land and grow. If this is resonating with you right now, if you're feeling that recognition deep in your chest, I want to invite you to subscribe to this channel. Every week, there's a new teaching waiting for you, a new pathway to the love you deserve. And I promise you, what I'm about to share goes deeper than anything you've heard before. Meadow learned something that night that took her from crying on her kitchen floor to being in the most beautiful, nurturing relationship of her life within 91 days. Not because she became a different person, but because she finally came home to herself. She discovered that the love she had been seeking everywhere else was already living inside her heart, waiting patiently to be acknowledged. As you're feeling whatever emotion is arising right now, whether it's recognition, sadness, hope, or even resistance, go down to the comments and share with me. What emotion is coming up for you? There's no right or wrong answer, just your truth, because your truth is the beginning of your healing. The secret I'm going to share with you today isn't about finding love. It's about feeling the love that never left you. It's about recognizing that you are not half of a person waiting to be completed by someone else. You are whole, complete, and worthy of love exactly as you are right now. And when you truly feel that, when you embody that truth, love doesn't have to be chased. It comes to you naturally, like flowers turning toward the sun. Right now, before we go any further, I want you to do something with me. This isn't theory or philosophy. This is the actual practice that will begin shifting your relationship with love immediately. And I mean immediately. Not tomorrow, not next week, but right here in this moment as you listen to these words. Find a comfortable position where you can place both hands on your heart. If you're walking, that's okay. If you're driving, just place one hand there when it's safe. but I want you to make physical contact with your heart space, because your body needs to feel this, not just your mind. Close your eyes if you can. If you can't, just soften your gaze and let your attention turn inward. Feel the solid reality of your chest rising and falling. Feel the warmth of your hands. Feel the steady rhythm of your heartbeat. This is not romantic love. This is not the love you chase. This is the love that has been with you since your very first breath. Now I want you to take a deep breath in for a count of 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold that breath for 4 counts. 1, 2, 3, 4. And exhale slowly for 6 counts. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Do this 2 more times with me, breathing into your hands, breathing into your heart. As you breathe, I want you to say these words, first in a whisper, then in your normal voice, then as a firm declaration. I am worthy of love exactly as I am. Whisper it now. I am worthy of love exactly as I am. Feel the vibration of those words in your chest. Say it in your normal voice. I am worthy of love exactly as I am. And now, say it like you mean it, like you're declaring it to the universe itself. I am worthy of love exactly as I am. You might be feeling resistance. You might be hearing that familiar voice saying, but what about when I made that mistake? What about my flaws? What about my past? That voice has been running your love life, and look where it's gotten you. Today, we choose a different voice, the voice of truth. Pause for a moment. Are you feeling something? A shift? A softness? Maybe some tears? Maybe some anger? Whatever you're experiencing is perfect because you're finally feeling instead of thinking your way through love. Your body is remembering something your mind forgot. When you feel that sensation in your chest, whatever it is, place your attention there and say, I welcome this feeling. I am safe to feel love for myself. Don't judge it. Don't analyze it. Just be with it like you would sit with a dear friend who needed your presence. Keshia from Atlanta wrote to me 6 months after doing this simple practice. She said that for the first 3 days, she felt nothing but resistance and even some nausea. She wanted to quit. But on day 4, something cracked open. She was doing the breathing and the affirmation, and suddenly she started crying. Not sad tears, but tears of recognition. She said it felt like coming home after being lost for 28 years. While you're integrating this feeling, whatever it is, go to the comments and tell me, what resistance came up for you just now? What voice tried to argue with, I am worthy of love exactly as I am? I want to hear your truth because your resistance is actually information. It's showing you exactly what needs love the most. That voice that argues, that criticizes, that tells you all the reasons why you don't deserve love, that's not your voice. That's an echo from the past, from people who didn't know how to love themselves, so they couldn't teach you. But you are not bound by their limitations. You have the power to choose new thoughts, to speak new words over your heart. The practice you just did is not a one-time thing. This is your new morning ritual. Before you check your phone, before you look for love outside, before you start your day, you place your hands on your heart and you remember who you are. You are love seeking to know itself more fully. Let me explain something that Louise Hay discovered after decades of working with people who struggled with love and relationships. She found that every single person who had trouble receiving love had one thing in common. They had a harsh, critical relationship with themselves. It wasn't about their looks, their personality, or their past. It was about the voice in their head that narrated their life story. Louise taught us that our relationships are mirrors. They reflect back to us exactly what we believe about ourselves. If you believe you're not worthy of love, you will unconsciously choose people who confirm that belief. If you believe love always leaves, you will attract people who are emotionally unavailable. If you believe you have to earn love through perfection, you will attract people who always find fault. This isn't mystical thinking. This is psychology. When your self-worth is low, you have poor boundaries. You accept treatment that you wouldn't want your best friend to accept. You ignore red flags because you don't believe you deserve better. You chase people who pull away because the chase feels familiar. It feels like the internal chase you're always doing, trying to prove your worth to yourself. But here's what most people don't understand about self-love and relationships. Self-love isn't about becoming so independent that you don't need anyone. It's not about building walls or becoming selfish. True self-love creates magnetic energy. When you love yourself, you become irresistible, not because you're trying to be, but because love recognizes love. Recent research in attachment theory shows us that people with secure attachment, people who feel fundamentally worthy of love, create what psychologists call earned security in their relationships. They help their partners feel safe, valued, and free to be themselves. They don't chase because they don't come from a place of lack. They attract because they come from a place of abundance. The brain is remarkably plastic. Neural pathways that have been carved by years of self-criticism can be rewired through consistent self-compassion. When you change your internal dialogue, you literally change your brain chemistry. You start producing different hormones, attracting different experiences, and yes, different people. Now place your hand on your heart again, not because I told you to, but because your heart needs your attention. It needs to know you're listening. That voice that says you're too much or not enough, it's not the voice of wisdom. It's the voice of old programming that you can choose to update right now. I had a client named Bronwyn who came to me after 3 failed marriages. She was convinced that she was simply bad at love, that she attracted the wrong people. When we began working together, I asked her to pay attention to her self-talk for just 1 day. She came back horrified. She said, "Louise, if I spoke to anyone else the way I speak to myself, they would never talk to me again." That was her breakthrough moment. She realized that she wasn't attracting the wrong people. She was being the wrong person to herself, and that energy was radiating out into every relationship she attempted to build. Love cannot grow in hostile territory. Your heart cannot be a sanctuary for someone else if it's a battlefield for you. If you're really feeling this shift, if this is changing how you see yourself and your relationships, I want you to subscribe to this channel because what I'm showing you is just the beginning. The transformation goes so much deeper than what we can cover in one conversation. The question isn't whether you deserve love. You do. Every human being does. The question is, are you willing to be the first person to give yourself that love? Are you willing to stop waiting for someone else to validate your worth and start validating it yourself? Now that you understand the foundation, let's build on it with 3 specific practices that will deepen your relationship with yourself and radically change how love shows up in your life. These aren't complicated. They don't require hours of your time. But they do require your sincerity, your willingness to show up for yourself in a new way. The first practice is what I call the mirror covenant. Every morning for the next 21 days, I want you to look directly into your own eyes in the mirror and say, "Good morning, beautiful soul. I love you exactly as you are today. Not when you lose weight, not when you fix your life, not when you accomplish something. Today, as you are right now." The first time Delphine tried this practice, she couldn't even look at herself. She would glance quickly and look away, feeling nauseous. But I encouraged her to stay with it, to breathe through the discomfort. By day 7, she could hold her own gaze. By day 14, she was smiling at herself. By day 21, she told me it was the most loving relationship she had ever had. Your mirror is not your enemy. It's not there to show you your flaws. It's there to reflect back the divine love that you are. When you approach it with hostility, with criticism, with judgment, you're practicing how to reject love. But when you approach it with curiosity, with kindness, with appreciation, you're practicing how to receive love. The second practice is the love letter to self. Once a week, I want you to write yourself a love letter. Not a list of things you need to improve, not a goal-setting session, but an actual love letter. Thank yourself for how hard you've been trying. Acknowledge your courage in facing difficult days. Appreciate your kindness, your creativity, your unique way of seeing the world. Write about your favorite qualities like you would write about someone you're falling in love with. Because you are falling in love with yourself. Tell yourself about the dreams you hold for your life. Promise yourself that you'll be patient, that you'll be gentle, that you'll never abandon yourself again, no matter what anyone else does. Vance started this practice after his girlfriend of 4 years left him suddenly. He was devastated, angry, broken. But instead of immediately looking for someone new to fill the void, he committed to writing himself one love letter every Sunday for 6 months. He said it was the most healing thing he had ever done. He learned things about himself he had never noticed. He began to appreciate qualities he had taken for granted. And interestingly, love started showing up in his life in ways he had never experienced. The third practice is what I call the instant reset. Throughout your day, when you catch yourself in self-criticism, when you notice that harsh voice starting its familiar routine, you simply place your hand on your heart and say, I am learning, and I love myself anyway. That's it. Not complicated, not time-consuming, but deeply transformative. This isn't about stopping all critical thoughts. That's impossible and not even desirable. This is about changing your relationship to those thoughts. Instead of believing them, instead of building your life around them, you acknowledge them and choose love anyway. Calliope shared with me that this simple phrase changed her entire dating experience. She used to go on dates replaying every awkward thing she said, criticizing her appearance, wondering if she was interesting enough. But with this practice, she began to catch those thoughts and redirect them. She started showing up authentically instead of performatively, and that authenticity was magnetic. Of these three practices I've shared, the mirror covenant, the love letter to self, and the instant reset, which one are you really going to do? Which one calls to you? Which one do you feel you need most? Don't pick all three and do none well. Pick one and commit to it completely. The practice you choose will become your gateway to self-love. It will teach you that you are worthy of your own attention, your own kindness, your own devotion. And when you learn that, when you embody that truth, love stops being something you chase and starts being something you are. You have the power to transform your entire love life, not by changing anything about who you are, but by changing how you treat who you are. The practices I'm about to share with you are more advanced, more profound, and they require a deeper level of commitment to yourself, but the results speak for themselves. The fourth practice is called radiating love visualization. Every evening before bed, I want you to lie down comfortably and place both hands on your heart. Close your eyes and imagine a warm, golden light beginning to glow in the center of your chest. This is not imagination. This is you connecting to the actual love that lives within you. See this light getting brighter and warmer with each breath you take. Feel it expanding beyond your chest, filling your entire torso, flowing down your arms and legs, up into your neck and face. You are literally filled with light, filled with love. This is your natural state. This is who you really are when all the layers of self-doubt are stripped away. Now imagine this light extending beyond your body, creating an aura of love around you that extends 3 feet in every direction. Anyone who comes near you can feel this love. Not because you're trying to give it to them, but because you're so full of it that it naturally overflows. This is what makes you magnetic. Not neediness, not trying too hard, but fullness. The fifth practice is the daily decree of completeness. Every morning after your mirror work, I want you to place both hands on your heart and declare with absolute authority, I am complete within myself. I am whole. I am not half a person waiting to be completed by someone else. I am love expressing as Trudy, or whatever your name is. I am love expressing as Marcus. I am love expressing as Sage. This declaration rewrites your subconscious programming. Most people unconsciously believe they are incomplete, that they need someone else to make them whole. This belief creates desperate energy, clingy energy, energy that pushes love away. But when you declare your completeness, when you embody your wholeness, you attract from abundance, not from lack. Here's what's happening scientifically when you do this work. Your nervous system is learning safety. For perhaps the first time in your life, your body is receiving consistent messages of love and acceptance. Your stress hormones begin to balance. Your immune system strengthens. Your skin glows. Your posture changes. People notice something different about you, but they can't put their finger on what it is. What they're noticing is the presence of someone who is at peace with themselves. And that peace is the most attractive quality a human being can possess. It signals to others that you are safe, that you won't drain their energy, that you won't expect them to fix you or complete you. You become someone others want to be around, not because you're perfect, but because you're comfortable with your imperfection. The moment has come for you to make a choice. You can continue living as you have been, chasing love outside yourself, hoping someone else will finally see your worth and validate it. Or you can step into the truth of who you are, a complete, worthy, lovable being who attracts love by being love. I worked with a woman named Temperance who had been single for 12 years. She had tried every dating app, every strategy, every technique for finding love. Nothing worked. She came to me frustrated and ready to give up. I gave her these exact practices. For the first month, she hated them. She said it felt fake, forced, ridiculous, but I asked her to trust the process. By month 2, something began to shift. She noticed she was more confident at work. She started saying no to things that didn't serve her. She began taking better care of her body, not to attract someone, but because she loved herself enough to want to feel good. By month 3, men started approaching her everywhere she went. But here's the beautiful part. She wasn't desperate to connect with any of them. She was choosy because she knew her worth. She's now engaged to a man who adores her, who pursued her, who tells her daily how lucky he feels to be with her. Not because she became a different person, but because she remembered who she had always been underneath all the self-doubt and criticism. The universe responds to your vibration, not your words. When your vibration says, "I am love," the universe says, "Yes, you are," and here's more love to reflect that truth back to you. When your vibration says, "I am not worthy," the universe says, "Okay, I'll send you experiences that match that belief." You are not powerless in love. You are not at the mercy of other people's choices. You are the creator of your love experience through the relationship you choose to have with yourself. Choose wisely. Choose lovingly. Choose today. The journey of learning to love yourself deeply is gradual, but the markers of transformation are clear and unmistakable. I want you to know what to look for so you can celebrate your progress and trust the process even when it feels slow or challenging. In the first 3 days of truly practicing self-love, you'll notice something subtle but profound. You'll catch yourself being mean to yourself more quickly. You might still have the critical thought, but there will be a moment of awareness, a small voice that says, "Wait, would I talk to my best friend this way?" This awareness is everything. It means you're waking up from the trance of self-hatred. Coraline told me that on day 2 of her practice, she caught herself in the mirror, calling herself stupid for forgetting her keys. But then she stopped, looked at herself with new eyes, and said, "Honey, everyone forgets things sometimes. You're doing your best." She said it felt like a miracle, like she had found a new friend inside herself. By day 7, you'll notice a shift in your posture. When you love yourself, your body responds by standing taller, breathing deeper, taking up space. You'll start making eye contact with people differently. There's something steady in your gaze now, something that says, "I belong here. I am worthy of respect and love." Week 2 brings integration. The practices start feeling less forced and more natural. You might find yourself automatically placing a hand on your heart during stressful moments. You might hear yourself speaking to yourself more gently without thinking about it. The neural pathways of self-compassion are deepening, becoming your new normal. By week 3, other people start noticing. They can't put their finger on what's different, but there's something. You seem calmer, more confident, less reactive. People want to be around your energy because it's peaceful instead of chaotic, abundant instead of needy. This is when love often begins to show up in unexpected ways. Marcellus shared with me that in his 3rd week of self-love practice, his ex-girlfriend called him wanting to reconcile. But here's the beautiful part. He no longer felt desperate for her approval. He could see clearly that their relationship had been based on his neediness, not on genuine compatibility. He kindly declined and felt proud of himself for honoring his worth. Month 1 is when the real magic happens. By now, your nervous system has recalibrated. You feel safe in your own skin. You stop looking for love to save you because you've learned to save yourself. Love becomes something you want to share, not something you need to survive. This is when healthy, mature love enters your life. Tell me in the comments, which milestone are you recognizing in yourself right now? What phase of this journey feels familiar to you? I want to know where you are because every step matters. Every bit of progress is worthy of celebration. It's important to know that there will be setbacks. You'll have days when the old programming feels stronger than the new. You might find yourself slipping back into people-pleasing or seeking validation. This is normal. This is part of the process. The difference is that now you have tools to bring yourself back to center. Here's where most people give up. They have a bad day, they react in an old way, and they think, see, this self-love stuff doesn't work. I'm just not cut out for healthy love. But you are not most people. You understand that healing isn't linear. You know that every time you catch yourself and redirect with love, you're building the muscle of self-compassion. The truth is that learning to love yourself is like learning any new skill. You wouldn't expect to play piano beautifully after 7 days of practice. You wouldn't quit learning a language because you made mistakes in week 2. Love is the same. It requires patience, consistency, and above all, compassion for your own learning process. What I want you to remember is that every moment of self-kindness counts. Every time you choose a loving thought over a critical one, you're voting for the life you want to create. Every time you treat yourself with the respect you deserve, you're teaching the universe how you want to be treated. We need to talk about what really blocks people from receiving love. Because understanding these obstacles is the key to moving through them with grace instead of being derailed by them. These aren't just thoughts or beliefs. They're deeply embedded patterns that have been running your love life from behind the scenes. The first obstacle is the belief that you need someone else to be complete. This belief usually sounds like, I'll be happy when I find the right person, or I just feel empty when I'm alone. This belief makes you desperate in ways you might not even recognize. You accept less than you deserve because having someone feels better than having no one. But love cannot heal emptiness. Only self-love can fill that void. The second obstacle is the inability to tolerate solitude. Many people mistake loneliness for a signal that something is wrong, when actually it's often a signal that you need to come home to yourself. When you can't be alone without feeling anxious or sad, you end up clinging to relationships that don't serve you. You stay too long, forgive too much, and accept too little because being alone feels worse than being mistreated. Demetrius came to me after a series of relationships where he was repeatedly cheated on. He couldn't understand why he kept attracting dishonest people. As we worked together, we discovered that his fear of being alone was so intense that he ignored red flags, made excuses for bad behavior, and convinced himself that any love was better than no love. The moment he learned to enjoy his own company, everything changed. The third obstacle is the belief that self-love is selfish or narcissistic. This belief keeps you trapped in self-sacrifice and people-pleasing. You think loving yourself means you'll become uncaring toward others, but the opposite is true. When you love yourself, you have more to give because you're giving from overflow, not from depletion. Many people, especially women, were taught that self-love is vanity, that putting your needs first makes you a bad person. But think about it. How can you truly love someone else if you don't know what love feels like? How can you recognize healthy treatment if you've never treated yourself healthily? Self-love isn't selfish. It's essential. The fourth obstacle is the story that you've tried before and it doesn't work. This usually sounds like, I've done affirmations, I've done therapy, I've read the books, and I'm still single. Self-love doesn't work for me. But here's the truth. Self-love isn't about getting a relationship. It's about being in a healthy relationship with yourself, which then allows healthy relationships to emerge naturally. If you're using self-love as a strategy to find a partner, it's not actually self-love. It's manipulation. It's still coming from the belief that you need external validation to be worthy. True self-love is its own reward. The relationship that may come is a beautiful bonus, not the goal. The fifth and deepest obstacle is the belief that you deserve to suffer because of past mistakes. This might sound like, after what I did to my ex, I don't deserve happiness. Or, I've made too many bad choices to deserve real love. This belief keeps you in relationships that punish you, that confirm your unworthiness. But pain is not payment for your past. Suffering is not how you earn redemption. Forgiveness, especially self-forgiveness, is how you free yourself to love and be loved again. Every mistake you've made has taught you something valuable about love, about life, about yourself. That wisdom is your gift, not your curse. Isadora carried guilt about her divorce for 7 years. She believed she had destroyed her family and didn't deserve another chance at love. She sabotaged every good relationship that came her way because she thought she needed to be punished. It wasn't until she forgave herself, until she recognized that her marriage had taught her what she truly needed in partnership, that she was able to receive the love that had been waiting for her. All of these obstacles have one thing in common. They all keep you focused on what's wrong with you instead of what's beautiful about you. They keep you in the story of unworthiness instead of the truth of your inherent lovability. The moment you recognize these patterns, the moment you see them clearly, they begin to lose their power over you. You are not broken. You are not too damaged for love. You are not too old, too young, too much, or too little. You are a human being worthy of love simply because you exist, because you have a beating heart, because you are life expressing itself as you. This truth doesn't change based on your history, your mistakes, or your perceived flaws. As you begin to truly love and honor yourself, life starts giving you clear signals that you're on the right path. These signs are not coincidences or wishful thinking. They are the natural result of aligning with your worth, and recognizing them helps you stay committed to your practice even when old doubts try to creep in. The micro signs appear first, small but significant shifts in your daily experience. You'll notice that your reflection in the mirror becomes more friendly. Instead of automatically focusing on flaws, you might catch yourself appreciating your eyes or smiling at yourself naturally. Your inner dialogue becomes gentler. The voice that used to narrate your day with criticism starts speaking to you like a supportive friend. You'll find yourself making different choices without thinking about it. Maybe you'll choose the clothes that make you feel good instead of the ones you think you should wear. Perhaps you'll order what you actually want at a restaurant instead of what seems acceptable. You might decline invitations that feel draining and say yes to things that light you up. These small acts of self-respect create ripples that expand into every area of your life. The medium signs involve how others respond to your energy. People start treating you differently, though they might not be able to articulate why. You notice that conversations flow more easily, that people seem more interested in what you have to say. Strangers smile at you more often. Service providers are kinder. Your coworkers seem more respectful. This isn't because you've become a different person, but because you're radiating the energy of someone who knows their worth. People unconsciously mirror the relationship you have with yourself. When you treat yourself with respect, others naturally follow suit. When you speak to yourself with love, others hear that tone in their interactions with you. Octavia shared with me that 3 weeks into her self-love practice, her boss offered her a promotion she hadn't even asked for. A week later, her neighbor invited her to a dinner party where she met some wonderful new friends. Her ex-boyfriend, who had been dismissive when they broke up, reached out to apologize for how he had treated her. She hadn't changed anything about her external behavior, but her internal shift had created a completely different experience. The macro signs are the big, undeniable transformations that show you just how powerful self-love really is. Toxic relationships begin to naturally fade from your life. People who used to drain your energy either change how they treat you or simply stop calling. You stop attracting drama because you're no longer available for it energetically. New opportunities for love present themselves, but they're different from what you used to attract. Instead of people who need fixing or who keep you guessing, you begin to meet people who are emotionally available, who appreciate you, who add value to your life instead of taking from it. The quality of your connections improves dramatically because you're no longer accepting less than you deserve. Perhaps most importantly, you stop feeling desperate for love to arrive. You still want partnership, but it's a preference, not a necessity. You're creating a beautiful life that you love living, and you're open to sharing that life with someone who enhances it rather than someone you need to complete it. Evangeline told me that 9 months into her self-love journey, she realized she hadn't thought about dating in weeks. She was so fulfilled by her friendships, her work, her hobbies, and her relationship with herself that romance felt like it would be a delicious addition rather than a missing piece. 2 weeks after that realization, she met her now husband at a bookstore. She wasn't looking for love. She was simply being love. Pay attention to resistance when it arises, because resistance is also a sign that you're changing. When you've been living in patterns of self-criticism for years, self-love can initially feel foreign, even wrong. Your ego might fight back with thoughts like, "This is silly," or "You're being too easy on yourself." This resistance isn't a sign that you should stop. It's a sign that you're rewiring decades of programming. Mortimer shared with me that in his 4th week of practice, he had what he called a rebellion day. Every loving thing he tried to say to himself felt false. His inner critic was louder than it had been in weeks, telling him he was wasting his time, that he was too old to change, that this spiritual stuff was nonsense. Instead of giving up, he recognized this as what I call the extinction burst. When old patterns are dying, they often get louder before they get quiet, like a fire flaring up before it goes out. There are also unexpected physical signs that many people don't anticipate. Your sleep might improve dramatically. You might notice that your digestion is better, that your skin has a different quality to it. Chronic headaches might disappear. Your immune system strengthens because your body is no longer in constant stress from internal criticism. When you stop attacking yourself, your body can finally relax and heal. You might find yourself naturally gravitating toward different foods, different activities, different environments. Theodora told me that she suddenly lost interest in gossip and drama that had entertained her for years. She found herself wanting to spend time in nature, to read poetry, to take long baths. Her body was seeking nourishment on every level now that she was no longer starving herself of love. Financial abundance often increases as well, though this might seem unrelated to self-love. But think about it. When you know your worth, you charge appropriately for your services. You stop accepting underpaid positions or staying in jobs that drain your spirit. You make decisions from self-respect rather than desperation. Money flows more easily to people who believe they deserve good things. Pay attention to your sleep patterns and dreams too. As you heal your relationship with yourself, your subconscious begins to release old wounds through your dream life. You might have vivid dreams about reconciling with people from your past, or dreams where you're protecting your younger self. These dreams are part of the integration process, your psyche literally rewiring itself for love. The most profound sign of all might be the quieting of your mind. That constant chatter of self-improvement, of what you should be doing differently, of how you're not measuring up, it begins to fade. Not because you've become perfect, but because you've made peace with being human. The mental noise that used to exhaust you is replaced by a gentle inner stillness. Wilhelmina described it beautifully when she said, "It's like I've been living in a house with a smoke alarm that was always going off, and suddenly someone turned it off. I didn't realize how much energy I was using just to function with that constant noise in the background." The relief of that inner peace cannot be overstated. Stay quiet with me for just 5 seconds. Don't think, don't analyze, just feel the truth of what we've been exploring together. Feel the possibility that's opening in your heart right now. Sometimes the biggest sign that you're healing your relationship with love is that you stop needing signs. You trust the process. You know that every moment of self-kindness is valuable. Every choice to honor yourself matters. Every time you speak lovingly to yourself creates change. The practice becomes its own reward because you finally understand that you are worth the effort, worth the patience, worth the love you're giving yourself. There's also something I call the mirror effect that becomes more pronounced over time. As you heal your relationship with yourself, you begin to see other people more clearly too. You stop projecting your insecurities onto them. You stop assuming they're judging you the way you judge yourself. You start seeing the beauty in others more readily because you're practicing seeing the beauty in yourself. This change in perception affects every single relationship in your life, not just romantic ones. Your friendships deepen because you're no longer constantly seeking validation. Your family relationships improve because you're not reactive to their old patterns. Your professional relationships flourish because you're showing up authentically rather than performing. Even your relationship with time changes. When you're not constantly criticizing yourself, you have more mental and emotional energy available for creativity, for joy, for presence. Hours that used to be consumed by worry and self-doubt are now available for activities that truly nurture you. The universe is always responding to your vibration, always reflecting back to you the relationship you have with yourself. As that relationship heals, as it becomes more loving and respectful and kind, everything in your external world begins to shift to match that new internal reality. This isn't magic, though it can feel magical. This is the natural law of attraction working in your favor for perhaps the first time in your life. We've traveled far together in this journey, from recognizing why love seems to slip away to understanding that the love you seek has been within you all along. You've learned practices that can transform not just your love life, but your entire experience of being human. But I want to share with you one final story that brings everything together, that shows you the true power of what we've been building. This is the story of Serafina, a woman who came to me broken in ways I had rarely seen. She was 46 years old and had just ended her 5th marriage. 5 marriages, each one ending with her being left, each one convincing her more deeply that she was fundamentally unlovable. When she walked into my office, she could barely make eye contact. She sat hunched over, arms crossed, protecting her heart from even the possibility of hope. "Louise," she said, her voice barely a whisper, "I think I'm just cursed. I think some people are meant to be alone, and I'm one of them. I've tried everything. Therapy, dating coaches, spiritual healers. I've changed my hair, my wardrobe, my personality. Nothing works. They all leave eventually." I looked at this beautiful soul who had been so wounded by life, so convinced of her unworthiness, and I felt something break open in my chest. Here was a woman who had given everything to love, who had tried so hard to be worthy of it, yet had never learned the most fundamental truth, that she already was worthy, had always been worthy, would always be worthy. I asked her to do something that seemed impossible at first. I asked her to look in the mirror in my office and find one thing, just one thing, that she could appreciate about herself. She looked at me like I had asked her to fly to the moon. "I can't," she said. "There's nothing there but failure." But we started small, so small. I had her place her hand on her heart and simply feel it beating. "That heart," I told her, "has been loving you faithfully for 46 years. It has never missed a beat. Even on the days when you hated yourself, even when others left you, even in your darkest moments, it stayed. Can you feel grateful for that heart?" The first tear fell, then another. Then something broke open that had been locked away for decades. She cried for 23 minutes straight, deep, body-shaking sobs that seemed to come from the center of the earth. I simply held space for her, witnessing her pain, her grief for all the years she had abandoned herself while begging others not to abandon her. When the crying stopped, she looked different, not healed, not fixed, but present in a way she hadn't been when she walked in. "What happens now?" she asked. And I told her what I'm telling you. Now you learn to be your own beloved. For the next year, Serafina committed to the practices I'm sharing with you today. The mirror work was agony at first. She could barely whisper, "I love you," to her reflection without feeling sick. But she kept showing up, day after day, week after week, month after month. She wrote herself love letters that made her cry. She practiced the instant reset hundreds of times a day. About 6 months in, something shifted. She was doing her morning mirror practice, saying, "Good morning, beautiful soul. I love you exactly as you are today," when suddenly she meant it. Not because she had become perfect, but because she had finally seen herself clearly. She saw a woman who had survived so much, who had kept trying despite repeated heartbreak, who had enough love in her heart to give it away 5 times, even when it wasn't returned. She called me that day, sobbing again, but these were different tears. "Louise," she said, "I finally met her. I finally met the woman I've been waiting for someone else to love, and she's magnificent." But the most beautiful part of Serafina's story isn't that she found romantic love, though she did. 8 months after she fell in love with herself, she met Daniel, a kind, stable, emotionally available man who pursued her with the patience and devotion she had always dreamed of. The most beautiful part is that when he showed up, she was ready. Not desperate, not needy, not trying to prove her worth, but full, complete, overflowing with love. You arrived here today for a reason. You were guided to these words, to this moment, to this possibility of transformation. The love you've been seeking everywhere else has been waiting patiently inside you, like a seed in winter soil, ready to bloom the moment you give it the attention, the water, the sunlight of your own awareness. You are not broken. You are not too damaged for love. You are not the exception to love's availability. You are love itself, temporarily disguised as someone who has forgotten. But forgetting is not permanent. Remembering is possible. And remembering who you are is the greatest love story you will ever experience. You've made it this far. 51 minutes of choosing to believe that love is possible for you. You didn't leave. You didn't give up. You didn't let the voice of doubt win. This is not an accident. This is alignment. The universe guided you here because you're ready. Ready to stop chasing love and start being love. Place both of your hands on your heart right now. Feel the solid reality of your chest, the warmth of your palms, the steady rhythm that has never abandoned you. This is where your power lives, not in your mind with its doubts and fears, but in your heart with its infinite capacity to love. We're going to end this journey where all true love begins, with a decree. Not a hope, not a wish, not a maybe, but a declaration of truth that you speak into being. You're going to say these words 3 times, each time with more authority, each time claiming more of your power. First, say this in a whisper, like a secret you're sharing with your soul. I am love, seeking to know itself more fully. Feel those words vibrate in your chest. Feel the truth of them settling into your bones. You are not half a person waiting to be completed. You are love, whole, and complete, seeking to experience more of itself. Now say it in your normal voice, claiming it as your truth. I am love seeking to know itself more fully. Let your voice carry the weight of recognition. You are remembering something that was never actually forgotten, just temporarily obscured by fear and conditioning. And now, say it like you mean it, like you're declaring it to the entire universe. I am love seeking to know itself more fully. This is not affirmation. This is identification. This is who you are beneath every story, every wound, every moment of doubt. Now we claim your new identity. Whisper it first. I am worthy of love exactly as I am. Feel how your body responds to these words. Notice any resistance and breathe through it. This worthiness is not something you earn. It's something you are. Say it clearly now. I am worthy of love exactly as I am. Let your voice carry conviction. You are not auditioning for love. You are not proving your worth. You are declaring what has always been true. And finally, with complete authority, I am worthy of love exactly as I am. This is your birthright. This is your truth. This is the foundation upon which all healthy love is built. Remember that question I asked you at the very beginning? Why does the love you chase always seem to slip away right when you need it most? Now you know the answer. Love wasn't slipping away from you. You were slipping away from love. You were so busy chasing it outside that you never noticed it was already living inside you, waiting patiently for your return. Love doesn't slip away anymore because you're no longer chasing it. You're being it. You're radiating it. You're so full of it that it overflows naturally into every interaction, every relationship, every moment of your life. If you've done this work with me, if you've felt the shifts happening in your heart and in your body, I want you to subscribe to this channel. Because you're not just a viewer anymore. You are part of this community of people who have chosen love over fear, presence over performance, being over doing. The most beautiful love stories begin not when 2 people find each other, but when one person finds themselves, when they discover that they are not half waiting for completion, but whole, choosing to share their wholeness. You have begun that story today. I want you to come back here in 21 days and tell me about your victory. Tell me about the moment you caught yourself being kind to yourself without thinking about it. Tell me about the day you looked in the mirror and smiled. Tell me about the peace you feel in your own company. And if you feel moved to leave a coffee in the pinned comment, know that it's not payment but energy. Love flowing in a circle, coming back to you, multiplied. 21 days from now, when you return to share your transformation, you'll realize something profound. The love you thought you were seeking was never outside you. It was the love you are, finally coming home to itself. This is not the end of your journey. This is the beginning. The beginning of treating yourself as your own beloved. The beginning of speaking to yourself as you would to someone you cherish. The beginning of creating a love so deep, so authentic, so fulfilling, that everything else becomes a beautiful addition rather than a desperate necessity. Take one final breath with me. Feel your hands on your heart. Feel the love that has always been there, that will always be there, that you now have the tools to access whenever you need it. This love is not dependent on anyone else's recognition or validation. This love is yours. It is finished. It is done. It is so. The love you seek is the love you are. Welcome home, beloved. Welcome home.